I don't know all the information about it. I can tell you what I think, which is that Britain loves its order and its organization and the compartmentalization of everything. And at the end of the day, this will be what destroys the country, because there will be zero creativity, because everybody will be you can only do things within certain spaces of time, within certain places, and that's that destroys creativity. It destroys artistry. It destroys the ability to find inspiration. Like, what has British culture done since Brit pop in the sort of mid-90s as a social movement? Not much, really. Not much has progressed forward at all, and most people will tell you the music produced today is trash and electronic. So it's the fact that everything must be ordered. You have to do this between this and this, and there's not that free choice that exists. You take the example of, say, a bar in Slovakia being open basically whenever it wants to be, right? So people can go there whenever they want. That's impossible here, because you have your very strict opening times and very strict closing times, and your very strict rules about who can go in the bar and who can't, and at what times, and there's no flexibility. It's just one rule across the board for everybody, and everybody must follow it, and that's that. And how do you even make steps forward as business development, right? How do you take the next step forward when everything is so tightly controlled and organized? It's really difficult, because you have to check with everybody if everything is possible, and you almost can't take any risk at all, which you need to take a risk if you're going to have some progress. Oh, it's all good for Europe, mate. This country is like a snowball going down a mountain, mate. Really. People have got no idea. Absolutely no. People have got no idea what's happening outside of this country. None whatsoever. They have no idea at all. They're so locked in. It's as if the government has plugged themselves into people's brains. And people are just like sucking in the BBC and then just repeating everything the BBC says. It's quite frightening. There's no outside information coming in. There's no information about anything important or useful happening anywhere else. You've got your travel programs, but there's no information of any substance. Because
today I read very interesting article on the LinkedIn. It's related to Brexit. There were somebody discovered, I don't know if I'm right, some document that Britain will face shortages of fuel, food, and medicine if it leaves from European Union without deal. There is a big risk. I don't know. This is only what I wanted to say or to share with you.
Yeah, do you see, that's there's a lot of people trying to scare people about with information which is not true. Look, none of that will happen, and I'll give you two reasons why none of that will happen. Number one, every business wants to make money.
Yeah.
So if they know that there's going to be a market for it, then they're gonna go in and sell their products. They're going to fill the space. So that's one reason why it's not going to happen. The second reason why it's not going to happen is Britain is almost self-sufficient in its production of drugs and fuel.
Uh-huh.
So the person writing the article has absolutely no idea what they're talking about.
Yeah, it's discovered today on the LinkedIn.
Okay. Scotland is entirely self-sufficient. Scotland is entirely self-sufficient. Yeah, it doesn't need to import fuel. Look, Britain does import some fuel from foreign countries, but that's like international trade deals. It's not absolutely necessary. And look at Britain's top 10 exports. Google Britain's top 10 exports. You'll find pharmaceuticals in the top 5, I think. It's in the top 5. So the idea that the country is not going to have enough drugs is ridiculous. They have more drugs than they know what to do. They have surplus drugs just waiting for an opportunity to sell them to people. And so, it's like hearing on the news in Slovakia, there will be a shortage of milk next week. It's like, there's not going to be a shortage of milk next week. Don't be stupid, because they'll just import it from another country because it's a business opportunity for somebody.
Yeah.
And there are very few things in big business that are not planned years in advance. So the things that Kimberly-Clark are doing are on 5, 10, 15, 20-year cycles, right? So it's not going to, there's not going to be that shortage. There will be a slow decline over time, but it's not going to be all sudden. And because people are always looking for opportunities. And there's what is supply? What is supply dependent upon? Supply is dependent upon demand. If people don't want what you are producing, then you're not going to produce it. If you're a good producer, you're not going to produce it if people don't want it. And so, if you know what people are going to need, the basic essentials, people adapt as well. So you don't have something for a couple of days. So what? Right? I mean, you adapt. Oh, you can't get your favorite brand of, I don't know, whiskey, or you can't get your Skittles, M&Ms, Maltesers, Mars bars, whatever chocolate you want to stuff down your throat, whatever. You'll get something else. There's always a substitute. There's always another drug. 57 channels and nothing on. That's television, right? There's always another drug. There's always something. There's always. Are you telling me that? Is this the writer of this article is basically saying that that people are so completely ignorant that they're going to ignore the basic essentials? Oh, there won't be fuel to travel around. Well, that'll destroy whole economies. Nobody will get to the cinema to watch the films, so the films won't make money. I mean, it's not going to happen. There would end up being a revolution overnight, and they'd have to change everyone in government, and that would happen. But yes, Britain is an island, but it's relatively self-sufficient, and people don't understand that. It has a large agriculture and farming industry, and the only problem that Britain has, essentially, it's kind of an overstatement, but look, here's the example. Every year, Britain exports 500. I think it's 500 tons. I have to check the exact. I think it's 500 tons of chocolate biscuits to Germany. And every year, Germany exports 500 tons of chocolate biscuits to Britain. Right. Okay. First of all, there's nothing about the process which is not crazy, right? There's nothing about it the whole thing is crazy. The fact that the companies make the chocolate biscuits, and they package them and they market them and people buy them, it's all crazy. But the fact that German people perceive because perception management is sales. The fact that people in Germany perceive British chocolate as being better than German chocolate when it's not. And the fact that people in Britain perceive German chocolate as being better than British chocolate, which is not. Is this? It's just this want for something that's just out of your reach. I'd rather have that because it's more exotic. It's appealing to human ecosystems in the back of the back of people's minds, and it's you don't even, excuse my language, you don't even need chocolate biscuits, right? Why is there a chocolate biscuit market? It's an unhealthy product, right? Yeah, it's a luxury. Why are people buying it? Oh my God, right? It's madness. So I don't. So when we've got these industries, see, we can survive without them. So what if the chocolate business industry collapses because they can't get fuel for their trucks to export their chocolate biscuits? That's a good thing, right? Because they'll reorganize and sell a necessity rather than a luxury. If business can't fail, then business can't progress. It's so powerful to understand that. If you can't be fired from your job, there's no motivation for you to work, really. Right? So if business can't fail, then business can't progress, because you need failure to understand what doesn't work. And so the good companies survive while bad companies collapse. And this is actually the fear of the whole principle of companies, is that companies will live forever and never die, and become the corporation. And I think we talked about that before. The word corporation means walking dead body. That's what it means. That's what it means. The word zombie, the word corporation means zombie. That's what it means.
Why?
Corpus. Corpse, corpus, corporation. The word corporation means zombie. It's a walking dead body. That's what it means. And the reason why it's called that is because it can't die. It's a zombie. The people start the corporation, and the people die, but the corporation continues. Therefore, it's a zombie. And if you go into banking, there's a whole area of financial banking that's entitled zombie banks, which is how banks function as dead entities rather than living entities. But that's another thing. Anyway, it's not important. But yeah, it's a fear that companies become so powerful that they live forever and don't die, and they need to die, like, to make space for whatever is coming next. Yeah, you have to factor in the uselessness, superfluousness, and the fact that eventually nobody will want your product because you're going to have something new that's better. What is fantastic today should always, if you've got a good company, what is fantastic today should always be replaced by what is more fantastic next month, next year, or in 5 years. There should always be that element of progress. And if it doesn't occur, then that's okay, because maybe you've taken things as far as they can go, or maybe somebody else will come and do something better. That's the way it all goes, I think. Big companies, big business. There you go. With things.
And generally, are you expecting some issue regarding Brexit or not?
No, I think it's a big comedy. That's what I think it is. It's a big comedy event. I mean, it's everybody with a brain is making money from Brexit.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody it's leaders and followers, right? It's opportunity. So I don't have the internet. I don't have full access to the internet for 10 days, which is a massive problem for my business. And yet, at the same time, it's a massive opportunity. Because the time and energy that I would give or devote to doing the things that I already know work, I can now take that time and do something completely different with it that I wouldn't normally do. I can explore other possibilities that I wouldn't normally explore. And it's more of a problem than not a problem, but problems are opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
So, look, everyone is heartbroken when their boyfriend or girlfriend leaves them. But most of the time it turns out to be a good thing for everybody. Because they find someone else.
Mm.
Yeah, they move on with their lives. They take steps forward. So I don't think that the Brexit is a massive problem. It's all press and publicity and it doesn't matter because businesses still have to. It's businesses that run the country, not the government. It doesn't matter who governs you. It doesn't really matter who owns the company. The company still has to function. You get good leaders and bad leaders, fair enough. It's all out of anybody's control. We're supposed to have a democracy. Well, as far as I'm aware, the last Prime Minister, just very recently, a few weeks ago, the Prime Minister changed.
Mm-hmm.
But nobody asked the people. Nobody asked the people if they want this new Prime Minister. The people didn't get a vote. I thought this was a democracy. But nobody got to vote. So we have a new leader taking the country in a new direction. And nobody voted. Isn't that the issue? Because if we are being led by somebody that nobody voted for, then what do we have? And I'm not even saying that's a bad thing. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. I don't know who the best leader is. They're all they all seem to, it seems to me they all went to school together and they all know each other. And they're all trying to solve the same problem in the same way. And leadership has become cult of personality. It's no longer how intellectual you are. It's how big your mouth is and how much you can talk. And that is one style of leadership, but there are many styles of leadership. And I don't see there being any solutions or any answers to any of the problems in the near future. I'm 44 years old and I'm still waiting for an honest politician. I haven't seen one for 44 years. There have been a few that made sense. Farage made a lot of sense. There was a guy called Tony Benn who was a British minister. He made a lot of sense. There's another minister. I can picture him in my head. His name begins with the letter G. Can't remember what it is. That made sense. Yeah, Margaret Thatcher made a lot of sense in the 80s, but it's like a game of there's a children's game called musical chairs. Everybody, you've got 10 chairs and 10 children. All the children sit in the chairs. When the music plays, they dance around.
Yeah.
And when the music stops, they sit down. Well, it's just a game of musical chairs. This is all the politics. It's just a game of musical chairs. It doesn't really matter who sits in what chair. Nobody knows if any of the politicians have any of the experience they need. Does the education minister have the experience to run the education department? Probably not. Does the minister of transport? What the hell does what qualifications do you need to be a minister of transport? I don't even know. I mean, it's just bizarre. So the aliens will come to Earth, and they will look around, and they will just fall over laughing, and then get back in their spaceships and fly away, because everyone is running around so busy. Everyone's so busy doing so many things, and then it's all over. Right? It comes back to, here's something, just a little note here. I think I said this before, and I just think it's so important. When I was in Finland and I talked to businesses there, the main response that I got from the businesses were that they didn't want extra information, extra help, extra coaching. They didn't want it because they didn't have time for it.
Mm-hmm.
But isn't that the number one reason why you need it? Right? That's why you need it.
Mm-hmm.
When you don't have time for it is when you have to realize that something somewhere is, because it's you don't have time to stop and think about your future. If you don't have time to stop and think about your future, you don't know where you're going. It's really important. And the people are so running like the mouse on the wheel. They're running so fast on like the mouse on the wheel. And they're unable to stop for a second and breathe and realize that there could possibly be other opportunities that they've never ever considered. Oh, we've had this business in our family for years, and we've worked at it for 30 years, and now we're handing it on to our children. And have you considered, considered taking a step back? Have you considered bringing in somebody else to look after things? Have you considered reorganizing your finance? Have you considered that your processes for the last 30 years might not keep you sustainable for the next 30 years? Have you looked at the competition? You're an expert at what you do, but the world does not exist just for you to do what you do, because there's so many other things going on. There's so many other things happening. Look, understand the mistakes. Look at any high street and see how the shops change every 2, 3, 4, 5 years. Oh, where's that shop? It's not there anymore. Oh, it's gone. There's all of these changes and transformations happening, and when people don't have the time to stop and sit down and think think, am I just going to do this one thing forever and that's it? Because I don't think that's a solution for anybody. Because I think we miss more than we see. Because we're just one person with one experience. And there's billions of people who see much more than what we can see. We miss more than we see. We've just got one experience in one way, in one vision, and one program running in the back of our mind to tell us what it is that we do. That's why the company is so powerful. The bringing together of a team of different people with different experiences, and then the explosion of exponential growth of what happens out of that, like NASA, for example.
Mm-hmm.
How do you get people to the moon? Well, you bring together great people who know great things, and you kind of mix it all together, and suddenly you're landing rockets on a giant rock flying through space. So people miss much more than they see.
Mm.
That's why I changed my business. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm doing things here, because I could still be living in the same place doing the same thing. And I think that for me, having a broader spectrum of experiences is important for the future. Is very important for the future. And I can't help other people to do that if I don't do it myself first.
Mm.
So that's why I'm going to send everybody pictures of the beach.
Yeah, and everybody would like to move to this town.
And then the prices will go up, right?
Yeah.
And there will it's. I don't think that's going to happen here. But people don't know. People at the same time, people don't know what they have as well, right? The people who live here don't appreciate it very much. Don't know. Variety of experiences. Variety is the spice.